Oke, okay, jadi kita akan mulai. 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 Jadi kita akan Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Great. Okay, so hello, everyone, and welcome to At America. We are the U.S. Embassy's American Center. First and foremost, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Genara Yusuf, and I will be the MC for today's event. And for those of you new here, At America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center located in Jakarta, and our mission is to provide a space for people to learn more about the United States through our events and also our programs. And our event for today is titled U.S. ASEAN Connect Series, Technology and Digital Economy, in which today we are going to discuss how the U.S. and ASEAN can collaborate to shape the future of digital innovation and technology. We are already joined today by our very wonderful speakers, but before we begin, let us hear an opening remark that will be delivered by the Chargé d'Affaires ad interim of the U.S. mission to ASEAN. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tao An Tran.
Well, good afternoon, and welcome to today's U.S. ASEAN Connect Series event on technology and the digital economy. I'd like to start by thanking the U.S. ASEAN Young Professionals Association for partnering with the U.S. mission to ASEAN to organize this event, and obviously to At America for hosting us. I also want to thank our audience, both here in person as well as those joining online, for taking part in our event. I'm also very grateful for the support of our partners from Indonesia, the ASEAN Secretariat, the United States, both in government and the private sector, who will be sharing their insights and expertise with us as panelists. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to today's discussion in what I believe is one of the most exciting topics in ASEAN, the digital economy. In my many conversations with ASEAN partners, the digital economy is easily a topic that generates a lot of consensus and enthusiasm. And there are many reasons to be hopeful for Southeast Asia's future: transformative economic growth, a large youthful and dynamic population, rapid adoption of technology, and certainly an outlook that emphasizes openness. And the digital economy is an example of how all of the above is shaping the region's future. Recognizing the region's potential as one of the fastest growing internet markets, ASEAN leaders have identified digital transformation as a driver for prosperity and have called for ASEAN to substantially conclude the ASEAN Digital Economy Framework Agreement this year. And according to some estimates, this agreement could potentially double the value of the region's digital economy to $2 trillion by 2030. And that is why we are responding to ASEAN member requests by providing technical assistance on the development of the agreement. And it's not only government leaders who talk about the digital economy. I think all of us can think of examples of how the digital technologies have impacted our lives. So the next question is, how do we ensure that the digital economy will help everyone and deliver benefits to all of our people? One of the U.S. mission to ASEAN's key objectives is to deliver results for our combined 1 billion people in America and in Southeast Asia. And that is why the United States is committed to partnering with ASEAN to unlock the potential of the digital economy to deliver for small business owners who need digital technologies to compete in the marketplace, or students like many of you here, as well as workers who need the right skill set for good employment. The United States has long been a steadfast economic partner to ASEAN. Our country is ASEAN's top source of foreign direct investment. More than 6,200 U.S. businesses have contributed to record trade, creating millions of jobs throughout Southeast Asia. U.S. companies are investing and operating in the region, and they include some of the world leaders in digital technologies. They work with local communities and invest in human capital. Later this afternoon, representatives from Cisco and Meta will share some of their own initiatives of how they contribute to ASEAN's burgeoning digital economy. And we're also very honored to have Indonesia's ambassador and permanent representative to ASEAN, Daryaman, who will join us later today to share his country's approach on these important topics. And I want to conclude by noting when Secretary Rubio was in Malaysia recently for the foreign ministerial meetings, he reiterated the importance of the Indo-Pacific region, which will drive 2/3 of global economic growth in the next 25 to 30 years. And much of that growth is going to come from young, talented professionals just like you. So I'm glad we can discuss today how we can support this effort. We have a great lineup of speakers today. So let's get started. And thank you very much again for joining us today in person as well as online to talk about this important topic. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much to Tao and Tran for the very insightful opening remarks. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we will soon begin our talk show session. And to lead and also moderate our discussion for today, we are already joined by our very wonderful moderator. Our moderator for today is the ASEAN co-chair of the US-ASEAN Young Professionals Association. Please welcome Azira Ahimsa.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm Azira Ahimsa. I'll be moderator for the day. I'm the ASEAN co-chair, for US-ASEAN Young Professionals Association. So I would like to welcome our wonderful speakers. For the first session, we're going to have a more government-focused approach. So we will have Galuh Wulan from DAI. I'd like to introduce Galuh to come on stage, and then Arthur Glenn Maail from ASEAN Secretariat, and Fandi Gunawan from the Ministry of Trade, Indonesia's Ministry of Trade, and we will begin shortly. Please get comfortable. So if you'd like to introduce yourself first, so everyone knows your work and involvement in digital economy and technology and all the fun stuff.
Okay, thanks, Azira. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone here and online. It's very nice to be here with all of very young professionals. I feel young suddenly. So my name is Galuh Wulan, and I currently work as the program manager for the digital economy portfolio for the ASEAN-US Partnership Program. And the organization that Azira mentioned, DAI, not CIA, but DAI, is the implementing agent for the partnership program. And what do we do? Well, the ASEAN-US Partnership Program supports ASEAN, Secretariat, and all 10 ASEAN member states in implementing various activities from trade facilitation, digital economy, critical minerals, science, technology, anything. In Indonesian, we call it palu gada. Lu mau, gua ada. Okay? Yes. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Arthur Glenn Maail. I am a senior officer with Digital Economy Division of ASEAN Secretariat. My day-to-day work focuses most on the issues of cybersecurity, online scams, and also digital skills. So, like our division, Digital Economy in ASEAN Tech Secretariat, takes care of collaborations on the issues of digital economy with dialogue partners, including the US as well. So thank you very much for having me here.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Fandi Gunawan. I am from Ministry of Trade. I am a senior trade negotiator. I am overseeing some ASEAN issues such as Australia and ASEAN, Australia, New Zealand FTA, ASEAN, Korea FTA, and also some internal ASEAN issues such as digital economy, MSME, and also services. Maybe that's all for me. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much for the intros. So let's just get started. Exploring potential partnerships between the US and ASEAN, where do you see the greatest opportunities for collaboration between the US and ASEAN in technology, innovation, and maybe digital trade? Who wants to take this one first?
Ladies first.
Yeah, sure. Of course.
Okay. So to answer that question, I would have to bring up the ASEAN Digital Integration Index report. So the Digital Integration Index actually monitors the progress of the 10 ASEAN member states on their progress in achieving the digital integration. So some of the progress are ASEAN is making progress, especially in like national strategies for digital economy, and then also e-commerce, as we can see all in Indonesia. You know how Tokopedia, Shopee, TikTok are expanding, also on digital payments. However, there are still challenges and issues. For example, the most critical one is on digital talent. And I think this is a very important aspect, because as the digital economy progresses, but if we don't have the talent to either catch up or even maintain that, then there's an opportunity that we will not achieve the true sense of the digital economy. So I think one of the most critical collaboration is, of course, upskilling of the digital talents. And then cybersecurity is important, because what is a digital economy without the trust? People have to trust to the use of the digital economy. But now with, like Glenn said, online scams happening, on a daily basis, we're, phishing, malware, etc. So it's very important to build that digital trust. And then the third one is innovation ecosystem exchange. Innovation needs to keep growing, because that's how we will benefit from the digital economy, if there are continuous innovation. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So security, digital talent, and innovation ecosystem. Okay, thank you. So Pa Arthur and Pa...
Yes, just to add a few more things. So collaborations with ASEAN and the US on digital sectors has been going on for many years. So we do have, with the US, we do have cooperation under ASEAN digital ministers and also under the ASEAN economic ministers. On the digital ministers, we do have what we call ASEAN-US Digital Work Plan. So this is an annual plan where we focus on specific issues, including cybersecurity, including digital infrastructures, AI, and so on. So the collaborations on these aspects has been going on for a few years now. When it comes to digital economy, if you notice, and in the introduction remarks, Ms. Tawan had mentioned that we are currently working on negotiation on digital economy framework agreement, or short for DIVA. And this contains 9 key areas as of now, based on the study. It could be more as negotiation process. So on digital trade, e-commerce, cross-border data flow, emerging issues like AI, online safety and cybersecurity, digital payments, and so on. So these are all key areas that will be beneficial for both ASEAN in the future to basically bolster our digital economy. And of course, collaboration with dialogue partners, with the US as the largest foreign direct investment in this region will be very beneficial for us. And we are also very grateful with the expertise from the US private sectors as well in this particular area as well. So I mentioned a couple of things, but I can go into more details later, I think.
How about Pak Fandi? Do you have your view on this?
Thank you for the opportunity. So regarding to the collaboration, I would like to join Ibu Wulan regarding to the importance of the digital talent mobility in this area. This is also one of the key area in the DIFA negotiation. Aside of this, there is also ASEAN leader on declaration promoting competitiveness, resilience, and agility of worker for the future work. It has been announced into 2022. It's to reaffirm the ASEAN commitment to develop human-centered approach in preparing ASEAN worker ability to adapt the transformative changes, including the emerging of the digital economy. And also, I believe in the future, there is a necessity to develop a kind of MRA, mutual recognition agreement between, especially in the digital professional. Currently, ASEAN have several MRA regarding to the professional services that could be also boost the enabler of the digital talent mobility. Maybe that's what I can add for this area. Thank you.
Thank you. Since most of you mentioned digital skills and then cybersecurity, given the urgent need for a skilled workforce, how can ASEAN-wide cooperation on digital skills development empower young professionals to contribute more effectively to the region's digital economy? What's your view on this? Who wants to pick up the question first? It's a mouthful, really. But
So there are a lot of young people here, university students, right? I think one of the challenge is in terms of digital talent is the mismatch between the education and the actual skills. So I think our colleague from Cisco and Meta could explore that, but just from my view, it's that, like what they teach us in university is not what the companies actually need. But that it might be different. In case you have not known, it was 25 years ago when I graduated S1 ya. Jadi perhaps it's different, but I always thought that that there's that mismatch. And then secondly, I also think the challenge is that we lack the mentorship and the opportunity to be to explore, because digital economy moves so fast. Sometimes when I talk to Glenn about cybersecurity, 2 weeks, the next time we meet, Glenn is already like, no, that's so passé, but okay, So the mentorship, and then also I think the opportunity, for young professionals to be involved in policy making, to voice out your concern, your views on what digital talent upskilling will require is not sufficient enough. Yeah.
okay, so in a way you're saying if we can only align the expectations in the field and the curricula, then
Yes.
maybe we can.
Yes. But okay, this is speaking as an Indonesian, yeah. I don't know how the other education in the other 9 member states, but for Indonesian, I know every year I struggle with what is the next new curriculum, what books to buy, etc. Well, so the curriculum changes, but I don't think it's adapting fast enough to the what is required in the digital economy. Like, what do we need to learn in terms of cybersecurity? What do we need to learn in terms of, cross-border payment, data protection,
So it's always playing catch up with
yes,
all that.
playing catch up, but I don't. It sometimes scares me. It's playing catch up, but what the digital economy is going so fast, but the education is just not,
Yeah. Totally
not fast
understand
enough.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
But as human being, we adapt.
Yeah, exactly. So just wanted to add that there's a study, World Economic Forum published an annual report on the future of jobs. So the 2025, they surveyed 1,000 companies and found out that 60% of these companies surveyed, they said as the technology development will change their business process entirely. And the top three skills that they are needed is AI, related to data, and also cybersecurity as well. So, but I think the point is that the technology will evolve. So if you do the survey again, it will also be perhaps a different set of skills as well. So the key is actually upskilling and reskilling, so continuous learning. And in the same survey, I think they also pointed out that in addition to that technical skills, there also the need or the soft skill that they need, including critical thinking, ability to solve the problems, communication skills. So those are the soft skills that are also included as part of the keys, perhaps according to the survey, keys for futures of jobs. I think adaptability of young people will always be the key in terms of aligning their skills with what the industry needs as well. I'll just add that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know what I should be at. That has been covered by both good speaker. But I would like to add some my own thought since the digital skill gap is happen in the ASEAN especially. There are digital divided across ASEAN. Maybe Indonesia is better some in the some area, but like for some area which is Malaysia have a good thing in there, and then the digital upscaling can be used as the one of the alternative solution, and also the how to manage the education such as a curriculum as mentioned by Ibu Wulan. And then another thing, this go back to the talent mobility right now, professional movement of the worker. Maybe they can have a trickle down impact, such as they can indirectly teach the new unskilled worker in their specialty become better, and it will be also drive the digital economy players in this area. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And I would like to also ask, I remember Ibu Galuh mentioned innovation ecosystem, so this one is something, a follow-up to that. Reflecting on your own work, can you share examples or lessons from successful collaborations that have fostered innovation in ASEAN's digital economy?
I can name two. So, but both of them involves PPP, public-private partnership, because government, they can create the policy, but when it comes to implementation, they need the support of the public and the private sector. The first one is the ASEAN SME Academy. So it's an online platform. It's a collaboration between the US government, ASEAN, which is the ASEAN Coordinating Committee on micro, small, medium enterprise, and also the US ASEAN Business Council member companies, which are Fortune 500 companies like Cisco, Meta, Microsoft, who contributed courses that can be accessed by mostly everyone because it's a free e-learning platform. And from what I heard is these courses, because they're coming from companies, Fortune 500 American companies, these are like not your everyday courses, but it's, you know, like it's what the businesses is teaching you what to do and how to do things. And then the second one is we always collaborate with ASEAN in terms of innovation under the ASEAN Women Science Prize. So it's a yearly event. This year it's on water, AI and water management. So as you can see, it's very scientific, you know, but it's fun. It's targeted towards women scientists in ASEAN. So each ASEAN member states will have, you know, junior and seniors researcher. And then each year we will then select 2 winners, 1 winner from each. And these are women scientists, you know, specifically women, girl power. Yeah.
Thank you. I might need to check that one out.
Yes.
Not a scientist, but women.
Yeah. AI for water management. Yeah, it's an interesting topic.
Thank you. Pak Glenn, Pak Fandi, do you have your take on this?
So, I mean, the example, I thought that Galuh will mention about the cooperation with ASEAN on ASEAN single window. So this is one of the success stories as well. So this is one of the projects that is being supported by ASEAN in modernizing our custom process. And I think the impact is very huge because it's important how that custom process could also be digitalized and simplified. And I think the recent study has also found out that that modernizations of a custom process have actually saved more than $6 billion so far. That's in order to impact our companies, both ASEAN and also, of course, dialogue partners, including the US. I think that's one of the key examples. We do also have a lot of cooperations with ASEAN. I can mention one on cybersecurity as well, that we have a lot of collaborations with US company. We do have 2 centers in ASEAN on cybersecurity. So if you are interested in finding out more or learning more on cybersecurity, we do have ASEAN centers with cooperation with Japan in Bangkok and one in Singapore as well, focused on 2 different aspects of cybersecurity. One is more on the technical aspect, and the other one more on the policy side of the cybersecurity. So that's one of the things, and we've been really thankful for the support from the US that so far, I think our member states are performing quite well. So recently, ITU, International Telecommunication Union, issues the Global Cybersecurity Index, and 5 of our 10 member states actually rank in Tier 1 of the global index, together with the other 40 plus countries in the world. So I think that's a lot of success story there. We sure that we will continue to strengthen our cybersecurity because there's always a threats and evolving threats. So we will going to continue and working together with other dialogue partners, including the US, to strengthen our cyber resilience.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you, Pak. And Pak Fandi?
Okay. I would like to continue Pak Atur information regarding the ASEAN single window, since with the Indonesia perspective. Yeah, of course. Starting 2024, internal ASEAN has been implement the exchange from the certificate of origin under ASEAN Single Window Platform. For Indonesia itself, we are made some enhancement in here, and some of ASEAN dialogue partner, which is Korea and also China, also we are exchange the CO form in under this platform. Of course, it will be easier our custom to process the document via online aside is it in the conventional way. And another success story, I think there is ASEAN event. It's called ASEAN Online Sales Day. It yeah, it was started from 2020. It's from Vietnam Priority Economic Development. It support the ASEAN digital inclusivity since it's include the MSME to participate to kind of promote their product in one platform, online ASEAN.org, if I'm not mistaken. You can access this platform. Every country, they gather the participation from MSME or other businesses that would sell their product across the region. So in this platform, there is yeah, it's show from each country and each provider. I mean, it merchant in the country. Maybe Indonesian merchant can sold their product in the Malaysia, for example, in the Cambodia, for example, something like that. Yeah, this event host annually every 8 to 10 August, since this is one of thing to commemorate ASEAN anniversary, which is 8 August. Maybe that's I will again. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Fandi. And we already have questions from our online audience, and then we'll move on to our in-person audience. Arya is asking on Instagram, how does the U.S. plan to support ASEAN countries in building inclusive and harmonized digital regulations?
Let me try to answer that. So in terms of harmonized regulations, I think the importance of what we had, the importance of the the as a region or regional integrations in ASEAN is where we have a interoperability between within our countries. So we are talking about, for example, the system ASEAN single windows, so that ensure interoperability between countries. To ensure that interoperability, sometimes we also need regulations to support this implementation of the system. So I think that's, but the big goal is actually to ensure interoperability between our country, whether it's a digital payment, whether it is in the case of customs process is ASEAN single windows and so on and so forth. We are also talking about greater cross-border data flow as well. We are in the process of negotiating what we call DEFA, as I mentioned, and some of the things without revealing any details. It will include also commitments by member states to also make sure that they are ensuring interoperability, including looking at their legal framework as well. But I think we can also learn more from the US in terms of what being implemented, and also from the other countries as well in terms of their regulatory regimes and how we can adapt to our context. But I think the importance is to ensure whether any changes in the regulatory reforms also affect make sure that we have interoperability within our countries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So interoperability is key. Okay. It's really hard to pronounce it, but yeah. So our second question comes from Gio. Can you share successful examples of US-ASEAN public-private partnerships in the digital economy? Who would like to answer this one?
I think Glenn mentioned this, and I think to redeem myself for forgetting ASEAN single window, I think that's the biggest success because it's public and private because it's actually used to improve trade. As Glenn mentioned, it's digitalizing trade so that it not only saves time but also save costs. That's one, and I think the ASEAN SME Academy is one, and I think most of the activities that we conduct in supporting the ASEAN priorities and agenda has always been in a public-private spirit, because as I stated, we understand that government can develop the policy, but the multiplier effect needs the private sector to, in terms of implementation wise.
Okay, so it
Just
needs to be
to
a
add to that,
collaboration.
I think just to give you an example on cybersecurity, for example, many of what we call critical information infrastructures, or CII in digital, is actually owned by private sectors. So they do have a very big role in working in digital ecosystems, so with the know-how and so on. So in cybersecurity, for example, there are a lot of consultations and we have been working together with the private sectors, especially what we call these CII owners of critical information infrastructures, on how to secure the systems as well. So it's not just the government imposing a policy, but also we need to hear more from the private sectors. And we've been working together for example, recently we are working with the US-ASEAN Business Council in many areas, including the assessment on our cybersecurity readiness. So that's one of the contributions that we have been working together. I think that was led by Cisco as well as part of that collaborations. And we're very, very thankful on how the private sectors have also contributed to the digital transformations agenda in ASEAN, and we hope to continue to do so as well in the future.
Okay.
May I add?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Since Ibu Galuh speaking about the MSME, so I would like to add one initiative in the ASEAN regarding to develop the MSME to digitalize, which is a Go Digital ASEAN. It's a platform to support the MSME to with the basis of digital skill to transition their business into online, and also scaling up the existing business into development, and also connect the business across ASEAN through kind of discussion and also regional webinar series. Thank you.
Okay, I hope that answers Gio's question. And this is a bit more practical. Are there programs that provide mentorship, training, or scholarships for ASEAN youth that are interested in digital technology?
So just to give one of the example, we do have a lot of programs, particularly under one of the ASEAN entities are called ASEAN Foundations that targets youth and SMEs as well. So they have been working together with a lot of private companies like Google, Microsoft, Huawei as well, and providing these kind of skills as well. But the platform that also Ibu Galuh mentioned, ASEAN SME Academy, they are also like open sources as well, and they could also be widely accessed also. So that is something that, I mean, resources that the youth here could also utilize in terms of improving their skills as well. Yeah.
Thank you. So check it out because I know a lot of people are interested in that. And for startups, let's talk about young professionals that are founders. How can ASEAN startups access the US market, in your opinion, more effectively and vice versa?
One of the hardest questions. I know ASEAN, ACME, the ASEAN Coordinating Committee on Micro, Small, Medium Enterprise, does have an open platform to facilitate MSMEs access to market. And it's actually, the country proponent is Thailand. However, because I know we differentiate startups with the MSMEs, right? Because different need, different market, different types of funding.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, I don't recall any, especially the U.S. Yet, but perhaps it's something that the U.S. can consider to support ASEAN if there is enough demand needs for that startup access to market. I know we did once. It's not access to market, but more on the funding.
Yeah.
How can ASEAN startup access the funding, the capitals? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But market, I haven't heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's probably through accelerators, incubators, and the likes,
Correct.
right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Thank you, Bu Galuh. Okay, to the in-person audience, if you have any questions. No, not yet. Okay. We have one more question. Oh, he has a question. Okay. Sorry. Didn't see you. Please.
Hi, thank you. My name is Glenn, actually. So I've been working in Indonesia for a while, and I have a very interesting question. I've been working as a financial consultant, and I've been managing a lot of small to big businesses, and there seems to be a lot of conservative methods when it comes to businesses that doesn't really have any digital or AI methods in terms of their management. So I'm quite wondering, how would you in a way convince those conservative methods or conservative businesses that might be reluctant to change, and what strategy do you think would be proposed in order to convince them? Thank you.
Yes, I can take that question as well.
Sure.
I may. So agree with the premise there. So what we understand, as you probably know, that the MSME, medium, small, micro, medium, small, and medium enterprise make up like 95, 98% of ASEAN businesses. So there is a huge portion of our population that also requires and also needs to require digital transformation as well, including in their business. So we in ASEAN there's a lot of efforts to focus on this particular group as well. I can speak to some of the example that we have been working to right now that focuses on small and medium enterprises, particularly for the business owners itself, so that we not target everyone, like employees as well, but the business owner. I think the business owner will be the keys in terms of the digitalizations and also transformations in their company. So we've been conducting several programs, for example, to introduce them with regards to cybersecurity practices in their companies, on how small business can do the cyber hygienes, whether this is important for their business, and so on and so forth. We not yet, and I know through the ASEAN Foundation as well, similar initiatives was being introduced targeting business owners on different aspects of technologies like AI as well, and how relevant AI for their businesses as well. So I think there's a lot of awareness buildings that are currently being conducted. Of course, there will be follow-up activities with once they basically aware and would like to start their digital journey. One of the examples is that for our programs on cybersecurity, we out of, for example, 500 companies that initially involved in these awareness buildings, we will perhaps select about 10 who will have more mature digital presence in their operations to undergo different stages, for example, on implementing cybersecurity in their organization. So I think there will be a lot of assessments and so on. So there will be awareness building, but also more focus or advanced programs targeting those who have more maturity in terms of their digital journey.
And if I may add, I think we need to go to the basic. Sometimes we forget when it comes to digital, people think just about technology, but it's about behavior change, you know, and oh, I'm actually a psychologist by training. I should know this, but I haven't practiced psychology for a long time, so I forgot the steps. But I think the approach should be like we're approaching, you know, how do we change people's behavior, you know, from a heavy smoker to not smoking, right? It's the same thing in technology adoption. Like, so what are the challenges? What are the obstacles for them not adopting the technology? Perhaps for micro, small, medium enterprise, it's the price of application, or even their lack of knowledge on how to, or even as simple as, you know, where do I get the needed information, or even the technology. You know, if you're talking about cybersecurity, you know, how do I protect myself? Perhaps it starts like what Glenn is saying. That's why, you know, you have to start with awareness, give them all the knowledge, and then the next step is, you know, the behavior change. Yeah.
Thank you, Bu Galuh, Pak Glenn, and Pak Fandi for the insightful discussion. And passing the floor back to our MC.
Okay,
Ara.
yes.
Thank you. Thank you
So,
much.
thank you so much, Azira, and thank you so much to our speakers for the first session of our discussion today. And before we begin our second session, we are going to have a photo session with our speakers and also our moderator. And for our photo session, we would like to once again invite to the stage Tao Antran from the U.S. Mission to ASEAN. And also we would like to invite to the stage His Excellency Bapak Dery Aman, who is the Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to ASEAN. Okay, thank you so much to our speakers for our first session. And now we would like to invite the speakers for our second session. We have Lilian Rogers from Cisco, Ibu Purnama Sulfa from Bank Mandiri Taspen, Bapak Jonathan Marskell from World Bank, and also Ibu Nadila Renaldi from Meta to take a photo before we begin our second session. Okay, thank you so much, everyone.
So welcoming our speakers, Pak Purnama from Bank Mandiri Taspen, Ms. Lilian Rogers from Cisco, Bu Nadila Renaldi from Meta, and Mr. Jonathan Marskell from World Bank. Welcome.
Thanks.
Hi.
This is great.
So let's get into it. Given the competition from other regions.
You don't want us to intro ourselves?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Oh,
my God.
goodness. Given the competition.
I'm like, go. Okay. Can you, would you please introduce yourself, your amazing self, to the audience?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Purnama Sulfa. I'm the head of Cisco in Bank Mandiri Taspen. Right now, currently, I'm overseeing the program for the cybersecurity in Bank Mandiri Taspen. Most of my experience, more than past 14 years in cybersecurity and IT. I live in Jakarta. I love cycling and biking. Thank you.
Yay, let's get personal. Okay. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Lilian. I work at Cisco as the head of government affairs for Southeast Asia, so covering the 10 markets of ASEAN. I am based in Singapore. And some key priorities for me as I talk to governments across the region include cybersecurity, AI, especially infrastructure for AI, and digital upskilling. My hobbies are reading, and I'm fostering a 10-year-old cat at the moment.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Dea. Currently, I'm a public policy manager for Meta in Indonesia. So I'm not sure whether I can talk about ASEAN, but I'll try. Right now, my key areas or focus is related to AI, commerce. And I think just referring to the last speakers, I'm going to tell my hobby too. So I love golfing. I love doing paddle, tennis, and then
She's
people
active.
start asking, who hurt you, girl? But it's fine because I keep doing active exercise. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jonathan Marskell. I'm a senior digital specialist at the World Bank. For those who don't know, the World Bank is a multilateral development bank. We're both a financing bank, so we finance governments to implement projects, including on digitalization. And we're a knowledge bank, so we provide research, analysis, and technical advice. I lead our work on digital in Indonesia and Timor-Leste, based in Jakarta. I am also our focal point on digital with the ASEAN Secretariat. In terms of my hobby, it's trying to teach my 4-year-old Indonesian son how to play rugby.
That's cross-cultural exchange.
That's the hardest out of all your hobbies. So, all right, now we can get into it. Sorry for being rude and not introducing you guys. So, given the competition from other regions ramping up their own digital strategies, what unique advantage do you think ASEAN have that can help it accelerate its digital economy compared to the other global regions?
You want to first? Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's a very interesting question, a very good questions. So here in Asians, we have a lot of youth, young people in here, more than 15%, and all of the young people is very digital savvy, especially for here in Indonesia. Uh, right now, as you can feel from the audience or perhaps from the online, we shifting the transaction from cash to QR. Here in Indonesia, we know it as a QRIS, correct? Now, those are the advantages, one of the advantages related to the financial institutions, and those kind of mindset and the digital savvy is uh, one of the main thing that can accelerate the digital economy here in the ASEAN, especially in Indonesia. So that's why most of the young people in not in ASEAN, although especially in Indonesia, right now are pro digitally. That's why hopefully that in the ASEAN especially can be a global sandbox to inclusive for the digital transformations. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Purnama. Anyone else want to add to what Pak Purnama is saying?
Sure. I think I totally agree with Pak Purnama. I think for Indonesia itself, we will have like a bonus demography by 2030, and I'm sure it's also going to happen in the other countries in the ASEAN. So I just feel like it's a very good opportunity, you know, like for starting the multi-stakeholders collaboration, especially in upskilling, based on the also like what been discussed in the past session. But on top of that, also for business, I think we really think that the ASEAN market is really rich in terms of its diversity. So as a business, we feel like, you know, we need to also build our products, for example, by respecting local law, a local context too, right? So, and it actually creates a competitive advantage for the region in ASEAN, where like, you know, like because we need to keep innovating, right, to actually serve, and it's actually one of the biggest market right now, especially because of the very high penetration of the internet. I think we are one of the largest, right? So we see that. I think from the business point of view, we feel like ASEAN really has a competitive advantage, and so it's really up to, you know, like how the stakeholders within this region can actually collaborate to actually get the opportunity, and they can be done through multiple collaborations facilitated by ASEAN and US, of course, for example.
So I definitely agree with the points about young population and diversity. In fact, those were going to be my answers. To add another, I would say the dynamism of this region. It's very fast growing. It's fast evolving. People and businesses here adopt technology and new things very quickly. It is probably the most exciting market in the world right now when it comes to digitalization.
Okay. So everyone mentioned skills. I'd like to know from the previous panels. We also talk about there's a mismatch between curricula and what's expected, the digital skills expected in the field. What's your view on that, and how do you think we can collaborate between private sector, government, academia, to make sure everyone's ready with their the expected digital skills so they can come into the workforce and actually be effective?
Sure. So I'll share about the experience that Cisco had, but then I also think it's applicable across the industry, and there are a lot of best practices there. At Cisco, we have something called the Networking Academy, and there's two things that I think are really special about the Cisco Networking Academy. The first is that we really try to localize. Well, let me explain what it is first. So it's free curriculum that we deliver to partners within the country, either learning academies, higher institutions of higher education, et cetera. that are focused on real-world skills, to your point, Azira. And so there are two things that I think really stand out about this approach. The first is that cooperation with local partners. So Cisco and other companies have insights into what are real-world skills and what is needed by the market, but that bridge for the gap that you mentioned really comes into play when we're partnering with the local institutions. And so more than anything, I think of NetAcad not as something that's just skilling, but also a really dynamic and successful partnership with local partners. The second thing that I think is cool about NetAcad is that it's evolved a lot. So you may not be fully familiar with everything Cisco does now. We started out as a networking equipment company. We kind of invented networking, but since then we've moved into cybersecurity, data center, cloud, collaboration, if you've ever used WebEx. So in turn, the curriculum that's offered through NetAcad also has shifted. At the beginning, it was very focused on how do you be a network engineer. Now we have courses that are data analytics, cloud computing, all the way up to just business professional skills. And so I think when I talk to my counterparts in that team, I'm always asking them, like, what is the new curriculum? Because I think it's very reflective of what the market needs and what the feedback they're getting from the different partners. And so I think that's not just Cisco. I think a lot of companies have similar programs and similar approaches, especially through the US ASEAN Business Council program, where they're pulling together the different classes and making sure that there's access for it.
That's a great initiative from Cisco. Thank you, Lilian. And Dea, do you have anything to add? Because I know Meta, I think, has a lot of initiatives.
Yeah. We basically have a couple of programs, and it's targeted to, for example, like SMBs. There's also a specific program for like women in SMBs. So, and we've been doing that ever since we established here in Indonesia. But then again, I think just also thanks for bringing up, I mean, like Meta here. I haven't introduced about Meta. So Meta is a company where we have a platform such as Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. And I think one of the purpose of this is we want to build the future of human connection and the technology that make it possible, right? And so I think the point that I want to make here is that we want to democratize, like the access to technology. And this also includes, like, for example, like in terms of the upskilling itself. So right now we have a Meta Blueprint platform where you can access this platform freely. Unless, for example, you want to be certified, then probably there's like some sort of like a fee, but I think I need to check about that. But I mean, like in here, you can actually learn, how, for example, like optimize our platforms. And we see that there are like a lot of content creators rising, like having these economic impacts across the country and also across region. And so I think the way we see this is that we're very open for further collaboration, but then again, like with the platforms that we have right now and it's accessible, I would say that it's also like, where you can optimize our platforms to and explore with all of the skills that we try to put on the Meta Blueprint. You can like try to see like what sort of the skills that you want to have, in order to optimize our platforms too.
Hey, thank you. So I think these are the opportunities young professionals can pursue to remain competitive in digital economies. So this is the opportunity, but what about the challenges? What do you think are the biggest challenges young professionals currently face as digital economies evolve rapidly? Who would like to pick that one up?
None of us are young professionals.
I believe is lack of access to the real world projects or mentorship. Okay. So to remain the competitiveness in knowledge, and also I think the previous sessions also mentioned about the mismatch between their knowledge, right? And either related to the academic curriculum, it can also, that is one of the challenges. There is, yeah.
Okay, so we have the opportunities and the challenges.
Yeah.
And
Can I just add a bit on that? I think it's also because the global economic slowdown.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, like the number of the job created, and also like in terms of the job security, it's also something that I think young professionals are also facing. And you know, like there are actually a lot of talent pools, and I think it's reverse back to, you know, regarding the mismatch one. I remember that I had data here, for example, specifically with AI, based on the government data, particularly in Indonesia, we will need around 12 million talent in AI.
Yeah.
Million, but right now I think not billion, but I think we still only have about 3 million. And so we need to catch up, right?
Yeah,
And I think that we need to, like, you know, start reevaluating the core competence that we need, like in the in a university, and also like starting from the schools. And I think we're going to that direction.
Yeah. Okay.
And I believe like other countries in the region too is doing the same thing. Yeah, but you want to add something?
No. Just wanted to add one keywords that I believe, hopefully that everyone agree, is adaptability. That is the keywords.
Okay. So adaptability. Jonathan, do you have anything you want to add?
On this one, not really, but I think that there's foundational challenges that need to be addressed. So cybersecurity is one that's come up a lot. If you talk to any policymaker or any person in ASEAN, in a rural area of Madura, in you know, various parts of the region, everyone's scared of scams, misinformation, all these kind of things. At the same time, even though internet access is improving quite dramatically, still 30% of the population in ASEAN lack internet access. Of the 70% who do have access, the speeds, the quality are very poor, with some exceptions in the region. But these are really foundational challenges. We can't get too far ahead of ourselves in all these exciting things when there's these foundational issues that need to be addressed.
Okay, so foundational issues to be addressed first before dreaming big. Yeah. So for the follow-up question, leveraging U.S. strengths has long been part of ASEAN's digital strategy accordingly. How can U.S. expertise in cybersecurity and advanced digital infrastructure be leveraged effectively to strengthen ASEAN's digital resilience?
There are two things that really excite me about my work day to day, and I'm going to try to be succinct. The two things are AI and also what I believe to be a pivotal moment in ASEAN integration and the role of that grouping on the global stage. So first, I really hear Jonathan's point about not getting too far ahead of ourselves, but I'm going to get a little bit ahead of myself and talk about AI, with the caveat that yes, there's still a lot of foundational issues that need to be addressed first. But I think AI is coming whether we like it or not. And from my perspective, Cisco is interested in AI for connectivity and AI for cybersecurity. And in both of those, there's two sides of the coin. So let's take connectivity. We can use AI to really improve networking, to increase latency, to optimize the network. And we can also see how various players within the network can also utilize AI themselves. For cybersecurity, similarly, there are more threats detected in a day than there are Google searches. Okay, so there's no way, well, reported threats. These are reported. Who knows if they're real, but there's a lot that are reported every day. So that's above the scale of human manual detection. So we're gonna have to use AI to detect and defend against threats. But can I have a show of hands who has used like a ChatGPT or any type of AI today? A lot of people, right? But did you stop to think about, is that AI secure? You know, in my organization, in my company, in my government office, who's using AI, what are they using it for, are they having private information on there, are they asking it how to rob a bank, et cetera, et cetera. So we can use AI for cybersecurity, but we also have to ensure that the AI itself is also secure. So that's my spiel on AI, and I do think that there's a lot of opportunity in this region specifically when it comes to the infrastructure for AI. How are we going to have enough energy for it? How are we going to have enough data centers for it, compute for it, and other concerns like that. And the trust, someone mentioned trust earlier. How are we going to have enough trust to make sure that this is secure? The second thing that I think is really excited about Southeast Asia, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but a lot of things about the global world are changing. A lot of things related to trade, et cetera, are changing. And one really exciting thing I think that has happened is I see a renewed commitment from ASEAN member states and from the grouping to really come together and articulate a vision for the economic opportunity here and for trying to move forward in terms of enabling the digital economy. And so I think that's where there's two really exciting and new and forward-looking sweet spots: the AI revolution that's coming and that we're already experiencing, as well as the importance of Southeast Asia. You know, a lot of my peers that aren't based here get very frustrated, like, ASEAN's so slow, or it's consensus driven, or it takes so long to do X, Y, Z. But they don't understand that every step is a step. And there's such thing as incremental progress. And I really feel like this is the time for ASEAN to shine. And so that is where I think there can be a lot of opportunity, even while so many things are changing all around us.
Thank you. So those two examples are great. Anyone else want to add to that?
Okay. I like the word trust. Yeah, in digital economy, trust is the currency. I believe everyone agree. And we can build a strong collaborations between the US and the Asians. The previous speakers mentioned about the technology part, but also about the building a capability like certifications, doing the in cybersecurity, we doing the threat hunting collaborations, and we can do it across not only Asia but also the globe. The second one is the policy one, because the policy harmonizations regarding with the cybersecurity, using the framework like from the US, NIST, and TISA, those kind of framework we can harmonize here in Asians to strengthen the collaborations between Asian and the US. I think that. Thank you.
Thank you. So if no one else would like to add to that, we have another question. So do you really think AI is the single most transformative technology trend currently shaping ASEAN's digital economy, or do you see other technology that's crucial to accelerate the digital savviness and all that?
I would say that it's the ecosystem itself that will transform the digital economy. So it's not only AI, like a standalone AI. So I'll give you an example, like in day-to-day, for example, I want to go from your house to the office by Gojek, for example. And then you kind of like get, how much price that we get, right? And there's already AI, like try to predicting how much price, like in terms of the direction and so forth. So it's like, but if you see deeper behind that app, for example, in the back end, there's like AI, there's a data center, there's like a backbone infrastructure, there's like a network like Cisco, there's like, for example, a GPU that being used, right? Energy. So it's like, I would say that it's the ecosystem itself, and once this ecosystem is actually like being optimized, with, of course, the strong cybersecurity, then I think that's where, it's going to transform the digital economy in ASEAN.
Okay, thank you. So you mentioned the innovation ecosystem, tech ecosystem. The foundation is the digital infrastructure behind it. Do you see public-private partnerships in digital infrastructure that drives stronger US-ASEAN collaboration? Do you have examples of that, or any lessons learned from public-private partnerships and digital infrastructure, maybe?
So the first answer is that PPPs are essential to addressing the digital infrastructure gaps in ASEAN because there are so many market failures that need to be addressed, and there are so many opportunities at the same time, and governments, I think it was mentioned in the last panel, are not very good at implementing, right? Governments are good at facilitating, regulating, supervising, creating the enabling environment, hopefully anyway. And so public-private partnerships are the way to mobilize the capital, the technology and know-how in order to address these gaps. Because if you just depend on government investment alone, and we've seen it, for example, in Indonesia, there is a push to use much more private investment. That is the way to reach scale as quickly as possible because of all these things happening. The public investment simply cannot keep up. In terms of good practices, I think the strength of the regulatory regime is very important, the transparency around that, and the overall business environment. How easy is it to get permits? How easy is it to get approvals? What incentives are in place to mobilize that capital? Those are the key things. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Private sector agrees on the regulatory
Ease
transparency
of doing business
point.
is very important.
So it's a collective response.
PPP.
So let's talk about security. Balancing rapid innovation with security is a challenge. How can ASEAN balance innovation-friendly regulation with the urgent need for stronger cybersecurity measures, you think?
You're a CISO, right? Yes.
What do you think, CISO?
Wow. It's a difficult one. Yeah, it's to balance. Perhaps it's like this. Between the innovations and the governance, right? For example, when we do the partnerships, the digital economy partnerships, mostly we need to consider three key factors. The first one is when we do the trade, when we do the digital, when we do the transactions, we need to know that the money came from. That's why we have the anti-money laundering, the ML. And the second key is we know who's where we're going to deal with the transactions. That's why we know the KYC, know your customers. And the last one is about the data itself, how the personal data, privacy. So those kind of key aspects that I believe we need to balance. It's challenging, but we need to balance it to ensure that we have we can do innovations, but in the government ways. Governed ways, yeah.
Okay, thank you. What's your view on something like regulatory sandbox and the regulatory sandbox approach from governments when it comes to fintech, when it comes to health tech? What do you think of the regulatory sandbox approach? Is it meant to balance the innovation and regulation? Like, what do you think?
I believe that's I can relate it to a public and private partnership itself with that regulatory sandbox itself. That in a way that it can help us to ensure that we are in the right track. So those kind of policies and governance are essentials, especially for the cybersecurity itself. And not only, for example, I can give you an example in AI. AI is very interesting. AI, there are risks in AI, right? There are bias, misinformations. We trust ChatGPT, but we don't know if the information is true or not. It is more like that. Yes, we can use it, leverage it, but we need to use it very wisely. So, You mentioned about the regulatory sandbox. We need to understand it and use it very wisely.
Can I add a bit on that? Because I was a participant of OJK Sandbox before in my previous company. So I think I would like to emphasize the purpose of Sandbox itself. So it's like, the ecosystem where you can experiment, but within this, like guardrails, right? But I think that I don't know, but I get a sense that there's a probably, like misunderstanding in terms of the purpose of regulatory sandbox itself, where it's kind of like the pathway, to license something, right? Well, actually, in Singapore, they have, like, for example, AI Verify, where they truly want to boost innovation, but provide a free consultation and try to guide, like, all the startups ecosystem, all players in the ecosystem to actually, like helping them to build their capacity, for example, in cybersecurity, or like help them in terms of like, hey, you have to identify the risk and you have to learn how to mitigate this, and strengthen your governance framework, for example, and the government itself actually provide the guidance, the technical guidance to that, right? So I think, striking that balance is always hard, right? And also in the case of AI, for example, for Meta, so we basically just released our large language model, Llama 4, back in April 2025. And we support the open source approach, where we think this open source will actually allow more communities, academics, researchers to also participate, and they truly contribute in the development of this technology, right? And so, but what is more important is, as a community, we also need to understand there's a risk, like Pak Purnama mentioned, right? And so, in building that technology, I think we need to like collaborate. We need to involve like all of the stakeholders. And I think ASEAN could actually facilitate by establishing the multi-stakeholders fora. I think ASEAN also already like released the guidance for AI. And Indonesia is also referring to that in creating their soon regulation later on. And so I think that this involvement of multi-stakeholders is very important, to balance this.
Okay, thank you. So there's a chance for us to balance innovation and regulation. That's good to know. And I would like to open the floor to questions from the audience. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Lucia from FPCI Women in Foreign Policy Fellow. So I want to address my question to Jonathan. As divide still exists across the regions, gender, income, language, and everything. So how we can ensure the rest of the world, particularly developing countries such as ASEAN countries, will not get increasingly disconnected in AI discourses, particularly from your business perspective? How to make sure ASEAN countries remain involved in AI development when maybe we are left behind in terms of capital and human development? Thank you.
It's a really important question, so thank you for that, because over the past year or two, since ChatGPT triggered this whole AI craze, we've been talking a lot internally within the World Bank. We work with all the developing countries of the world, and there's a real risk that all these productivity and innovation benefits that come from AI are not going to be experienced by developing countries. There's a few things that need to be addressed. So firstly, I'm going to come back to digital infrastructure, right? If people don't have internet, or if other people don't have good internet, that's going to make it really hard to have the benefits. When we think about data centers, we are doing a mapping now within ASEAN of all the regulatory constraints. Of course, Singapore is the current hub. Malaysia and Thailand are growing. Indonesia is kind of getting there as well. But there is a lot that is needed to boost that capacity for good data centers. So energy efficient, and secure. Then in terms of the capacity of regulators to understand and to put in the right guardrails against misuse, any kind of certification regimes or complaint regimes. How do you grow the local ecosystem? What tools do you make available to the private sector, local startups especially, to build off this, right? And obviously local languages is a big one. I know in Indonesia they're trying to do a lot on this. And then finally, in the global discourse and global discussions on AI, it's very critical that developing countries participate equally in all these forums that are trying to design whatever international frameworks that exist. It's not going to be easy, but the good news is across ASEAN, I think it's been mentioned a few times, the commitment from the ASEAN member states is there. Malaysia, as the chair this year, has AI very, very high on its agenda. Next year is the Philippines, and we know they're going to have it high on their agenda as well. That political commitment is there, but it needs to now translate into those elements that I spoke about. Thank you again for the question.
Does that answer your question? Yeah. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to ask a question? Yeah.
Hello. First, my name is Najwa from the University of Professor Dr. Hamka. I want to ask about what are the main problems when using AI in different sectors, especially in Indonesia. Thank you.
Okay. From the banking perspective, one of the concerns is about the data privacy. Yes. Using the public AI, data privacy is the largest threat right now when using the AI, because everyone have their own AI. I have my ChatGPT in my phone. Everyone can type anything. It's hard to ensure that each of the employees that they not fill their personal data or perhaps company data to their AI. But there's a good thing in AI also, beside the threat. We know the data privacy itself, but because of the AI, now we are more aware of the personal data privacy. Right now, we have, as we know, in Indonesia, we have a personal data privacy law that already is now running. Because of the AI, the law right now is running. Previously, they do not care about the data privacy. So the awareness, yes, we still doing it, continuous awareness. But the most important thing is we have the law to ensure that the awareness have restrictions and also have is regulated. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh.
Right. Good afternoon. My name is Arif. I'm an English student from UHAMKA. My question is, do you think in the future CRIS could be a standard payment in ASEAN, just like US with its FISA? Thank you.
Curious question. The QR code.
I think, and I might need to check this, I think QR was first introduced by US company actually. The QR code history, back in the history. Yeah, and also Japan. Yeah, and then it was like a US company, right? If I'm not mistaken. And so I think it's just because I was in payment before. Each country has their own characteristic of which payment methods that they want to use. For example, Indonesia, the volume of the payment methods that mostly use are CRIS, VA, virtual account. But that's not so much for cards. But when you go to, for example, to US, they mainly use cards. So I would say it's also because of there is this, like characteristic of a specific country that probably will affect, the development of the CRIS itself. I think for ASEAN, like we already started the interoperability for the CRIS. I think between interoperability between Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, and then if you try, for example, when you buy something in Singapore, you can actually use CRIS from BCA or like Mandiri or like BNI, So I think, it's just the characteristic of the region itself.
Okay, anyone else would like to add to that?
Yeah, the opportunity is very huge to use the QR. Either QR is in Indonesia, there's another term in other country. But the most important thing is that we have to have a uniform standards, right? So each of the country have their own standards, have their own policy, have their own frameworks, either adapt from the NIST or TISA or any other frameworks from the US. But and also each of the country have their own personal data law, right? Those kind of policies need to be uniform, need to combine to ensure that all of the country are very acceptable for the payment, whether it's securities or cards or any kind of type of payments. As long as we have a uniform for the policies, everything is possible.
Everything is possible. Thank you. So we're at the end of our discussion. I'd like to thank each and every speaker, Pak Purnama and Lilian and Dea and Jonathan. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful discussion, very insightful. I'm sure everyone agrees. I'd like to pass the floor to our MC, Ara.
Okay, please give a round of applause for our speakers.
Yes, please.
So that marks the end of the second session of today's discussion. And everyone, before we end our event for today, we would like to hear a closing remarks that will be delivered by the ambassador and permanent representative of the Republic of Indonesia to ASEAN. Please welcome His Excellency Bapak Dery Aman.
Thank you very much. It's a bit hard. It's like reading a poem, if it's like this. But first of all, Tao Antran, our colleague from the U.S. mission in Jakarta, it's always a pleasure to be here. And I cannot reject or object to any invitation from her. So although my voice is, I don't know what's happening with my voice, so I hope I still can deliver my closing remarks to this very interesting event, very knowledgeable, especially for me, who here in Indonesia, I've always been categorized as a person who does not know anything about technology. So the GapTech people, the technological gap people, that's one of my categories besides being an ambassador. So once again, I would like to congratulate everyone. First, the U.S. mission to ASEAN in Jakarta, the U.S. ASEAN Young Professionals Association, and everyone who has organized this event in a unique location, venue. For me, I feel like an artist now. And also, of course, the speakers. I believe there was 8 speakers. Each one of them provided, I believe, a lot of knowledge, a lot of new information, a lot of usefulness for all of us, especially the young generation, the Green Jackets young generation from the University of Professor Hamka. So welcome and congratulations for participating in this event. And young generations, of course, is one of the most important segment of our community, not only the Indonesian community, the US community, but also the ASEAN community, which we now have the ASEAN Community Vision 2045, which we have just adopted in KL last month in May. So ASEAN is now looking 20 years ahead from today. So what will ASEAN become in 2045? One of the elements is, of course, all the substance, all the ideas, all the views that have been shared with all of us in this event. So once again, congratulations to the speakers, and thank you very much to the speakers for sharing with us with all the information, the knowledge that would be useful for each one of us in our daily lives, but also for ASEAN member states in pursuing further in achieving the ASEAN Community Vision 2045, which of course have the elements of technology, digital development, AI, cybersecurity, all the issues that have been mentioned, that have been shared today, is all in the ASEAN Community Vision 2045. And through our cooperation between ASEAN and the United States, we also have our vision to work closely together to make not only ASEAN but also the US to try to achieve what's best for our region, what's best for the ASEAN region through the ASEAN Community Vision 2045. So that is basically what my colleague has prepared in my speech. Just put it in a nutshell that if we talk about ASEAN, digitalization, technology, AI, cybersecurity, all the related issues with regard to technology, with regard to digitalization, has been put in the ASEAN Community Vision 2045. It's a matter for governments and also for international organizations such as the World Bank or any other international organizations, as well as experts like from the private sector, from the CSO, from the civil society, everyone, and individuals, youth, such as the young people that we, one of the participants in this event, we all need to contribute as much as possible how technology and digitalization will be something that is useful, which is beneficial for our region, for our country, and for the ASEAN community. So everyone, by time and by your work, by your experiences, by your contribution, will be part of this development, of this evolution, of this journey towards the ASEAN Community 2045. So therefore, I cannot thank more Tawan, our colleague in the US mission here in Jakarta, for convening this, organizing and convening this event, this wonderful event, informative event, and I hope that our ASEAN-US cooperation and collaboration under the ASEAN-US Comprehensive Strategic Partnership that we already have will continue to contribute to the ASEAN region, to ASEAN member states, to the ASEAN community, as well as to our friends in the United States. So in closing, once again, thank you very much, everyone, the speakers, as well as the moderator, and everyone who has been involved in this event. I